what do Giants run, and are we going to see something a bit more meta in terms of the priorities?
Well, that's the thing, right? If you're a 0-6 team, often just playing standard won't help you. Because playing standard as a worse team often means that you will just slowly lose the game, or actually you just had a very, very, very low chance of winning, relying more on the other team messing up than you actually playing well, because you are supposed to play almost the same now. However, I also feel that when it comes to just picking crazy picks and like trying to shake up everything and surprise people, it is harder and harder to do, because teams are more and more prepared now. You know, they find all these weird picks and they talk about them, they try theorycraft how could certain picks work, so they're also preparing in case they play against them. And when you are Giants, I honestly feel like the better thing you can do is find 2 to 3 picks for each role, and you just fully focus on them for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And you learn, okay, how do we need to play with this pick? Like, do we want to play a siege composition? Exactly what do we need to do? Look at all the games from LCK, from LPL, from EU and NA. Like, how do these teams play siege comps? And try and copy it. Don't try and like all kinds of crazy stuff, because then things could almost go wrong.
So we'll find out if things do go wrong for Giants. They rounded out their bans. Poppy, Lissandra, Kalista, Gangplank, Corki taken off the table. So Lucian, the last of those absolute top tier 80 carries, is still available. But do you want that in RG's hand? And is it first pick worthy?
See, that's the big question. I was asking the same to myself coming into the week here, because we're gonna see this very often. 80 carry ban on blue side, 80 carry ban on red side. If you do not take Lucian here, I expect Reckless to lock it in, because it is the remaining of the top 3 80 carries. But there again, there are other super strong picks open, like an Alistar.
Yep.
As a support, you know, we still see Elise and so on, and Graves is of course enabled. So like, there's so many different good picks right now. I would expect Lucian those to come in for Reckless here.
So it is a Graves first pick for Giants. Patong played 2 games of Lee Sin last week. We've seen Graves both top and jungle. We don't know where that's going to go. But do they go Lucian Alistar and get a phenomenal bot lane? Or do they pick something else that they can run in a flex position?
I think Lucian Alistar is perfectly fine in this situation here. A lot of the flex picks has been banned away, like Lissandra, GP, Lulu, Corki, and so on. I'm more looking at the Graves first pick. I wonder for Giants if it's worth more to actually first pick Lucian and get a strong lane or get a strong 80 carry for Adri, and then just take an Elise jungle if Graves gets locked in by Fnatic in that first rotation. It's some of these things we gotta look at with these pick and ban phases quite a lot, and each team will probably have their own opinion. So there's no set meta on like, okay, if this pick is open, you have to first pick it no matter what. That doesn't exist anymore. There's so many different picks you can potentially first pick. So I want to see this Graves have a massive impact, because otherwise you could have gone for the likes of Elise anyway. You can still do it if you put Graves top. But Fnatic get the Lucian we talked about, strongest remaining 80 carry. Quinn we've seen more and more in other regions as well, also in Europe as a top lane pick.
And also something Cabo could have run in the previous game.
Sure, but why not Lucian?
Why not Lucian? Because you can Lucian Corki in the first rotation and get away with it. So Fnatic revealed their 80 carry in their top lane. It means Adri's going to default to something a little more lower tier, if I can even use that term.
That's fair.
And we'll see what Caitlyn can do this time around. Braum once again for Godfred. So it's Morgana, Braum. Those are the 2 champions he's tried to play. Also Trundle's in there. And it's also important to note that if they put Graves jungle, Atom has played 2 games of Shen, who is enabled with that minor rework. Of course. We saw it in Challenger earlier this week, but, you know, just reminding you.
I mean, when you see this in your Fnatic and the first 2 picks, you're obviously going to play 1v1 again. We talked about it in the last game, how the current meta is focused around you having pushing strong matchups who can push the lane, walk into the enemy jungle, set up vision, and actually just avoid team fighting almost at any cost. Just always play multiple lanes for pushing and tower damage, and then make that one big play that gives you the full tower, then walking into 5-on-5 team fight. So when you have Quinn, she's always gonna sit in a side lane. Always. All game long. Lucian, it's what he does super well as well. He's very safe, has the calling to poke, rapid fire for extra range.
So,
okay.
Noxiac's going to be playing Janna. We're going to assume that that's Malphite for Gamsu, who has played it before already.
Quinn mid lane has been played before. Malphite mid lane is an old school.
Real old school.
Real old school. I haven't seen a lot of Quinn jungle lately. But that is definitely also an option. So, Fnatic are a bit like Vitality in the last game, trying to really mind game Giants to guess, okay, where are the certain picks going to go? I mean, we would assume it's Malphite top lane. But then you pull out the AP Malphite mid and you one-shot some people.
I'm not going to be making any assumptions here. We'll see how the cookie crumbles once Fnatic make their last rotation. But for Giants, they have 1 minute to figure out what they want to do.
Quinn is really good into Fiora top. It is a counter pick over in Korea we see very often. And Giants are going to take that for Adam. And Ahri mid lane, so like, okay, damn, it would have to be Malphite jungle then in this case, because then you could go like LeBlanc into Ahri, you could go Quinn top into Fiora, but that obviously shouldn't be the case at all. From Fnatic, because like you don't want to put Malphite in the jungle. That's basically just farm for 15-20 minutes and do absolutely nothing else.
But you got such strong lanes. If you have LeBlanc and if you have Quinn top.
That's true, you will win the laning phase, but...
Well, we'll see what they're going to do. Let's touch on Giants. They put a carry in Atom's hands. He's tried that in the past. Lissandra Kennen are the two that he's sort of picked up. First time we're going to see him on this Fiora, and we know now that Atom's going to take that Graves into the jungle. Betong Yoka is going to take that Graves into the jungle. There's some pressure on him to make that work. So,
it can still be Malphite top, and then Quinn jungle. I so badly want to see Quinn.
If you were Daylor, if you were the coach on screen right now, what would you be telling Fnatic?
I would tell my team that I trust in you guys to win every single lane.
Don't cop out.
No. That I trust you guys to win every single lane. So I put Quinn top against the Fiora. I put LeBlanc mid against the Ahri. I'm expecting it to be the Malphite top anyway, because Malphite jungle is like so boring to watch anyway. But still, Fnatic gets the mid lane matchup. We have seen time and time again in Europe. Almost always goes the same way. LeBlanc has full control because she can use distortion to force the fights. And then, even though Ahri can predict the charm, it's hard for Ahri to kill because you go Abyssal Scepter first on LeBlanc, so you can survive that all in.
Now, I do feel Fnatic are at risk of having no wave clear. It's very, very risky. Blinding Assault is great from Spirit when he eventually gets there. You have to dash in with LeBlanc. You have culling, sure, but versus Caitlyn, versus Ahri, versus Graves, I don't like. If they fall behind, it's difficult to wave clear and stall for time.
Yeah, but you're not. Yeah, obviously, but you don't pick your composition saying, we need to be prepared to fall behind, guys, because then we have to wave clear. No, you pick your comp because you have very strong lanes, especially around mid lane. You have an early jungler who has a lot of early damage, a lot of early mobility. Obviously, it costs a lot of mana with ulti at level 6, but you can move around the map so fast.
So, you see the team comps on your screen. Believe it or not, Quinn jungle for Spirit. We heard from him and from Gamsu how they wanted to make World Championship from last year. Jump on Twitter, let us know, who do you think is going to win? Hashtag GIA win or hashtag FNC win. And we've had some shenanigans in Picks and Bans. We'll find out if these are the evil shenanigans, because it worked out with Lucian top for Vitality.
Sure did, and obviously, whenever the meta seems to settle and everyone plays some of the same picks, teams are always trying to figure out new different counters, new things that can kind of break up what we normally see, like Lucian into Gangplank, as you mentioned, which was a really super
interesting,
effective pick for Capushot.
30 seconds until
I want to see here.
Well, defensive start. Unlike the previous game, we had some level 1 action. This time around, we're not seeing any indication that a lane swap is going to be kicking off. So, Caitlyn Braum into Lucian Janna. That just sounds like a farm lane to me.
Yeah, so the thing is, when you have double range, it's so difficult for the melee support to really pressure you. First few levels, you also don't run Ignite in this case here on Godfred, otherwise like level 2 Braum, you can try and go or level 3, dash into a minion. Something I know Crepo loves to do. Dash into minion, apply the Q, and then try and take that all in. But it's very difficult because when you're melee support often, it's hard to assist your AD carry. So it's about what your AD carry can do against the enemy AD carry. And then with a Janna shield, it obviously becomes very annoying for Adri as a Caitlyn to deal basically 2v1 in that case. So Fnatic should be fine taking the standard lanes here. And more focus is going to be around this mid lane with Febivan and on the LeBlanc and what he can do in the early game. And also how active Spirit wants to be.
Yeah, especially when you see what Nukeduck was able to do to Xpepi last week. Nukeduck really showed up big. Now down bottom, Reckless gets the piercing light onto Audrey, and Reckless actually coming into this game averaged down 12 CS at 10 minutes versus his lane opponents. Audrey and Godfrey should apply less pressure, I mean because of the players, but also because of the matchup. So I want to see how Reckless and Noxia can do in this 2v2.
Definitely. Reckless talks a lot about becoming the shot caller for the team. He's okay if it costs a bit in terms of his own performance. I think with time, he's gonna figure it out. And Fnatic needs someone to step up to be that main shot caller for the team.
Good charm.
Good charm, but again, we see this so often. LeBlanc can just decide these trades so effectively. And if charm misses, then it's a very one-sided trade. Going in bot lane, it's important for Godfred that when these trades happen, that he gets to block some of the damage with shield from Reckless, otherwise Abi will always lose the trades. If it's a shield and a Lucian who dashes forward and Godfred is not blocking the damage, Adrian loses that trade every time.
And also interesting, Reckless has gone with Thunderlords for Lucian as opposed to the Fervor of Battle, which I think is probably the standard.
Again,
he's going to dash forward. Piercing light comes out. Adri tried to channel Peacemaker and it didn't even connect.
But we've seen now 2 or 3 times Reckless dashing forward and nothing getting blocked. So Adri is just taking so much damage. He's already used the potion. He's trading 1v2 every single time. Thunderlords from Reckless, so he's putting a lot more focus on laning phase and getting upfront burst. Janna's shield combined with Thunderlords. It's a very quick 3-4 seconds where you are super strong, so he's not relying on stacking that one up.
Oh, hang on, they're going to turn onto Godfrey. He's been knocked up by the Howling Gale. Defensive flash. Reckless is looking to chase forward. The Thunderlords wasn't enough. Flash forward into an unbreakable shield. That'll time out shortly. Finally, the exhaust comes out. That's going to save Godfred's life. A dash forward from Rockless and Archie Godfred able to make it away. Oh, I'm using the wrong vowels today, all over the place.
Wow, very aggressive play from Reckless, and again, Giants. The bottom
they're
lane
not done.
Getting caught out a little bit, that's so low, and now Spirit.
Sorry, Deficio, they're not done. Spirit's gonna look forward. The auto attack and Thunderlords, a turret shot onto Noxiac. First blood for Spirit and Fnatic.
Everything is already going wrong for Giants down this bottom lane. Poor trades, level 1 and level 2. Godfrey moves up to try and help Betonjoker. He then gets caught out, has to flash. Quick first blood, push in the wave, recall from Fnatic. Reckless only sitting on 1,000 gold, so obviously no BF sword for him. But still a very good start for Fnatic. And against the Caitlyn, let's go boots and a dagger.
Yeah. And you've got your Quinn ahead already. I really want to see what Spirit's going to do, because we touched on how Reckless is down in CS at 10. Spirit is basically off the records when it comes to CS numbers. He's one of the farming gods here in EU jungle.
Yeah, he's always doing extremely well for himself. It's a style he had to kind of adopt in LPL, because he had to be the solo carry for World Elite so often, and he had to do solo farm, be a big carry. Not always he was allowed to do it. See Giants sneaking in a pink ward behind. I normally like this pink ward a lot, but I also feel like teams by now should be used to always checking that bush when they do walk by, because there's such a high chance an enemy put a pink ward. But about this Quinn jungle, we are getting a meta where we see a lot of AD carries. We see, a lot of physical bruisers like Fiora, Graves in the jungle, Kindred in the jungle. The blind from Quinn makes it so difficult for these either melee champions or these AD carries to deal proper damage, because once you get hit by blind, or that they're basically you lose your vision, in my opinion, it's one of the strongest things you can do in this game, because everything you do as a player is reliant on you seeing what the enemy is doing against you. Like, where they're juking so you can land skill shots, or what happening. Everyone's jumping in on Pepe now, we can talk about it after.
Charm's gonna connect, Spirit will find that blinding assault, but they're not gonna die. Febby already used his Mimic, holding on to Ignite. Let's see if Pepe sticks around. And there's some support coming up from Betonjoker down by the Raptor camp. Has a level advantage over Spirit. I don't think that'll last particularly long. And they're going to fight over the Spirit.
But again now, when you play against Graves and Caitlyn and so on, if you land your Q from Spirit, they can't auto-attack you. So they lose so much damage from you landing one ability from a jungler, which honestly is also on a fairly low cooldown. They can't deal in depth. Like, Caitlyn is relying on being able to auto-attack 24/7. That's her damage. Land a Q onto her, she has no vision around her, she can't auto-attack properly. And also, it's so difficult for you to dodge anything, because obviously you're blinded. So, like, that's why it's such a good ability. That's what happens when you're blind. You can't really dodge anything.
Can't see it, therefore you can't dodge it. Right, we saw Gamsu slowly moving towards mid lane, backed away once he got to that Rift Herald. And that pink ward was placed behind the red buff in Fnatic's jungle by Giants at around 5 minutes 20. So I'd like to see how long that actually lasts. And in terms of CS, it's just advantages here for Fnatic really across the board.
That was a terrible trade by Rick.
Yeah, and caught on the trap.
Dashed right into it and Godfrey in his face. Still winning the lane. They have a better first back. Getting the long sword instead of a dagger in the group, which are doing basically nothing for Adri in this case. And also just again, we talked about the shielding on Lucian, dashing forward, picking the trades. So that's a winning lane for Fnatic. Top lane is almost always going to be a winning lane for Fiora into Malphite, because Malphite has no kill pressure on her. Whereas the Undying gives enough sustain for Fiora. So it's just heal up.
Good Howling Gale, good damage onto Ardri. Even the Piercing Light, a full channel of the culling. Godfrey's every single bullet down to 100 hit points, and he's gonna dash away with Stam behind me. This means Fnatic will hammer away on this outer turrets.
Braum is such a weak support if you don't have synergy in the lane. Which you should have, obviously in the way you're trading.
Look, pink ward's still up, by the way, going on 3 minutes. So, synergy in the lane, which you should have, that's not there.
I mean, in this case, for Giants, they should have that synergy. But like, again, the trades have just been gone awfully wrong for them over and over in the 2v2. Spirit has been free farming for himself. That's a tower down 8 minutes in a standard lane. 8-minute tower.
With a 25 CS advantage and first blood from that lane.
He's going to get BF sword. He can upgrade the long swords into the Warhammer if he wants to. And he can just look to be super, super aggressive in terms of his trading. So Reckless is getting a perfect start. And we can go back to Champ Select again and look at Giants first picking Graves. Again, I'm not against it by any means. But then you need to make sure you can always play against the Lucian. If you leave that one open as the only AD carry and you give it over. And right now, the way Giants have been playing in the early game, and because obviously they got killed on the tower by Spirit after losing early trades, the Lucian is doing extremely well for Fnatic.
Well, let's see how Fnatic impact the rest of the lanes. Reckless is moving up top with that hammer, boots, and the BF sword as you predicted. And he's going to try get into Atom's face. And the rest of Fnatic grouping up around the middle lane and pushing the Vision deeper into the jungle.
February going real Nomic on first item, so same deal again. We don't see that Frost Queens very often anymore after the nerfs to 6 or on 6.2.
Less spooky ghosts.
Also just value in getting instant cooldown reduction in mana region so he can keep being very aggressive in his trades. More distortions. Peppy has to basically all in him. Landing Charm, then blow everything. The problem is if you look at the river, Fnatic are the ones setting up the pink wards.
Yeah.
So Spirit can always just sneak in there, and Peppy always has the feeling that someone could be there, so he doesn't actually know. And if he ever goes aggressive and Spirit does show up, or Gamsu is there with TP, or Noxegg is roaming, then Peppy dies. And the only lane right now, which Giants are kind of relying on, are basically Peppy at the moment. And then I would also say Adam with the Fiora.
Yeah.
Let's just add in 2 lanes. It's a little bit too harsh there.
He's well farmed, not too far behind. We need to see how he's going to handle split pushing and just how much freedom is going to be given. Not second Reckless. No real contest up top here because Tongyok and Adri are a little late to the party. This tower's going very, very low. Not going to fall just yet.
And this is the worst part when you have these even lanes and then one losing lane. Because as long as Fnatic keep taking the lane they're winning in, mid lane.
Well, Vault forward, Spirit's going to jump out. The chains do not connect. And the Blinding Assault does. Gamsu's coming in from behind. Not going to commit on the Unstoppable Force, I do not believe. Up top, Tongyok is coming in. It's a 3v2. Howling Gale just to knock Godfrey up. Tongyok goes forward and the end of the line does not find the bounce back. That is a flash from Reckless.
And we talked about those pink walls around mid lane from Fnatic. That's exactly where Spirit and Gamsu were coming from. Bottom side of the map, not spotted by Giants. Peppy's forced to back away. That's mid tower now taking a massive beating, while top tower is also super low. So Fnatic is just winning every single lane in terms of pushing and pressure. And as I said before, when you have 2 lanes going even and you have 1 winning lane, keep rotating your winning lane to where the towers are. Because then you can always keep pushing down for these towers and slowly chip them down. Like, look at this tier 1 tower. That's just from Fnatic taking the winning bot lane 2v2, move it top lane. Where there is a tower, there's an objective to go for that you can use to snowball. Had Giants kept Fiora there, tower would be dead already. Do they move Adri there? Tower's gonna die maybe a minute later, but it's going to die no matter what. And Giants then is relying on an outplay individually because the lane setup is basically just in favor of Fnatic in terms of how they can pressure on the map.
What a difficult situation for Audrey. He's now Berserker's Greaves into Pickaxe. Tower has fallen versus Reckless, who's sitting on 1,700 gold. There was a very big trade there between Atom and Gamsu. Atom actually used the Grand Challenge. Gamsu's held on to Unstoppable Force. Also has Flash. There's going to be a dive available. Betongyok is coming in. He's revealed his position. Seismic Shard comes out from Gamsu. An Unstoppable away. No collateral because it's not available from Betong.
Just a few seconds on that one.
This means Fnatic will pick up an uncontested Rift Herald. But it will be at the cost of the outer turret. I guess it's a trade in the big picture, because they have the stronger lane up top.
This is basically the best play Giants could make at the moment. Saying, okay, you're investing members on top side. Let's mirror that, because we cannot contest whatever you're doing on that side of the map. Let's just do the same on the other side. I like the play. Fnatic now in a luxury problem situation.
Yeah.
Where, there's no tier 1 towers to push. So the Rift Hell is going to be focused, honestly, on just pushing down another lane, get into the enemy jungle, next to that lane you're pushing, and start setting up for tier 2 pressure. And you're going to keep doing that over and over and over.
Let's see if they can get some vision. Spirit's got the help of Noxiac and is chunking down Betongyaka. Very, very easy kill. Push into the jungle, get those wards set up. Now, let's contrast how well Fnatic can use their vision versus that pink ward, by the way, which is still alive. Has been placed 9 times. By the way, just some numbers. Our stats bender hit me up. 9 times it's been placed. The average lifespan is a little over 3 minutes. This is the longest lifespan pink ward, but it's not worth anything.
Exactly.
Because it's not giving information. Spirit eats a charm, and he's going to make it out alive.
Spirit walked by it once.
And that's it.
And
that's only information. Oh.
So he walked by it once, and Fnatic hasn't been in that side of the jungle ever since. And they don't have to, because you're now playing in the enemy jungle more than your own jungle. You're playing for their towers anyway. And look how Fnatic is setting up the 1-3-1. This is something we highlight with Fnatic very often. They're so good at sitting in basically a line holding hands and just pushing down the enemy together. Push them down to their own base. So if Giants at any point invest all 5 members to kill the guys on bottom lane, Febiven and Gamsu should be pushed far enough in towards the enemy tier 2 that they can take those towers in exchange for the kills. And the warding should also prevent that from ever happening. Because if Giants is running 5 members bot lane, Fnatic should spot them and just start backing away. Aggressive play themselves, I like this.
Instead, it's Fnatic coming in the vault against Ardri on the wall. Gamsu was caught up in the Unstoppable Force, holds the bottom lane together. That's 2 easy kills as 4 members of Fnatic are now on the wrong side of a Giant's tower. Febiven's coming in with support as the crowd is clapping for joy. The vault onto Betongyaka as one last hit from Febiven picks up another kill. Step on a trap, it doesn't even matter because there's only 2 members of Giants remaining. Step is going to try wave clear, and the rest of Fnatic will chunk this tower down and get out with kills. The tower, a 7,000 gold lead.
Yeah.
It's absolute control.
And exactly the same game plan as Vitality had in the last game. 3 lanes, you don't want a big team fight. You're not looking for any big team fights. You're looking for constant pressure from minions towards enemy towers. This is honestly such a good play from Fnatic because they are ahead of Giants in tempo, so they're the ones setting up the play, they're the ones in control of what's happening, when are we engaging, how many members do we have, where can the enemy come from. They know everything, they have all this information already before the fight even starts. You make the call. Worst case for Fnatic, Giants manage to run away from tower and nobody dies. Fnatic just takes the bot tower then. That's the absolute worst case. You get a free tower.
Now,
congratulations.
Of course, let's talk about this in a second. Reckless is in a little bit of trouble. I completely take it back. He's just going to slide out to safety.
You said a little bit.
Yeah. We're 16 minutes into the game, and yes, Giants is the team struggling the most in the LCS. So for Fnatic, that alleviates some of the pressure. But in contrast to last week, Fnatic's team members are on the same page. Teleport timing was good. Targeting from Gamsu's Malphite was good. They punished Giants for being out of position on the same page, the same time. And that is a positive trend for a team that is still in this building blocks phase.
Right. These kind of games, see actually what happens mid.
2-man knockup. Febiven's found Peppy. They turn to Betongyaka. He actually goes forward. That's not the direction he wanted. And Fnatic just make that look easy. Again, out of position.
You lost the map.
Pick it up.
Once you hit the point of this meta where basically you're losing every single lane and you don't have a jungle, I mean, the game is technically over. There's almost nothing you can do. Normally, at least you would have like one winning lane you could play around. But in this case, everything has just gone wrong for Giants. They fall so far behind, and Fnatic is in full control. Can just keep picking up kills, you know, get more fantasy points. And these kind of games, when it's like a team like Fnatic, who we expect to obviously be better than Giants, it's not really about necessarily who wins, it's how does Fnatic win.
Well, Deficio, how does Fnatic win? Well, if you look at the minimap, they have 5 active pink wards. They also have 5 pink wards in their inventory, and there are no biscuits to speak of.
I like it.
Is this happy, proud dad Deficio when it comes to vision?
It makes me very happy when teams are getting more and more control of, you know, how do we push the lead, what is the exact kind of comp you want to run, you know, in this current meta here, how do we push all 3 lanes at once, the synergy, communication, pink wards on every back.
I want to see how they push the pink wards forward. Now here's this, once again, flank. 4 members of Fnatic catching out Giants. I mean, is it a flank?
I mean, I guess it technically is.
Yeah.
Gamsu walked through the jungle, and it was basically his jungle.
Yeah, it's Fnatic's jungle.
Yeah, Fnatic has 4 jungles at the moment.
They are absolutely making it work. For Fnatic, they've extended that Goldie to 11,000. A couple of those pink wards are starting to be pushed forward and cleared out. Note that the Dragon and Baron timers are not active on this patch in the Spectator bug.
You know Trurigan's second problem now.
What is the second problem?
There are no tier 2 towers to take anymore. It's so annoying because now...
So flip to the page that says no tier 2 towers available. What does your guide say?
Okay, is Baron up there so we can bait Baron?
Well,
we're only 18 minutes in, so there's no Baron either.
Okay, so is there a page for we're too far ahead for the next step?
I mean, technically you can aim for the inhibitor base and then look to create picks like this.
Right.
Or you can actually wait for that Baron to spawn, set up your pinks around that Baron and say to Giants, if you do not come and stop this Baron, which you can't by the way, because then you're in a team fight and we're so far ahead we're going to kill you. Then we take the Baron and we just 1-3-1 you down and your base is dead.
Well, luckily for Fnatic, they turn to the page that says punish out of position. Giants push forward without Atom. And that's already a kill onto Beton Yoka. Spur rush defensively from Peppy. Atom didn't even look to TP. Now Fnatic in a 5-on-4 with the Rift Herald on Reckless. They're going to look to those inhibitor turrets, Deficio.
Yeah, Rift Herald for now. Buff up these minions. Honestly, just put the LeBlanc near that tower and let it just distortion in twice, and then someone is almost dead and they have to go back to base. Gamsu can just ult in once it's ready. And again, yeah, doesn't matter what page you're on. Close the book. Just dive, kill people. You're so far ahead anyway.
Especially with a LeBlanc plus Malphite combo. If anyone stacks up, those 2 alone can kill people. And tough game for Lozak on the left. Completely different situation for Daylor on the right. Inhibitor doesn't go down just yet. Godfred almost does. One more hit will drop it. 20 minutes and 10 seconds. Fnatic gets super minions into the top half of the base. And with that will allow them to either take more inhibitors or the Baron. That then will allow them to take those inhibitors. Great demonstration of macro play from both of the 2 winning teams at the top of week 4.
Great understanding of how to consistently, in terms of a lot of low-risk plays, you get high rewards over and over.
Oh, but Sonyak is in trouble, and he just is gone.
And the reason I say that...
Oh, Atom's in trouble. Atom's in trouble. Blinding Assault doesn't find a target. There are Fnatic coming in from all over, and Atom, well, he manages to riposte some of the damage. Kill credit to Spirit.
And obviously, again, we want to see more of this, you know, in more and more games. From like Fnatic and Vitality and so on, but it is so key we start looking at more of the consistency of these teams and the calls they're making, and how do they keep pushing their advantage. Because that's how you can see a team has really improved. You really start understanding, you know, how to push the leads, which kind of compositions are the correct ones to play. I like the pick and ban phase from Fnatic here. Again, a lot of mind games.
Yeah.
Quinn being picked, went to jungle, could have gone top lane into Fiora, but then Malphite obviously was a little bit out of place, and then suddenly LeBlanc gets picked last into the Ahri. We've seen it time and time again. Feverin has had a great game.
Malphite can make Giants out of place. Unstoppable Force and Flash is available. Not even needed because they're that far up. Atom has just respawned, but Songyaka was clearing waves, trying to in the top. Reckless took a big chunk from that Orb of Deception, and Giants are chasing in. Now Atom, if he chases too far forward, he's going to get killed. Culling plus Feathervin is enough. Gamsu looks for the Unstoppable Force, but it's flashed away as Audrey puts some distance. Inhibitor will drop. Reckless still alive. Orb of Deception doesn't find anyone. Defensive flash into that knockback from collateral damage, and they get the giant shutdown onto Spirit.
First man
base
dying.
is cracked open, and this... too little and it's too late.
First man down for Fnatic. They lost one tower and one member. Spirit
Look
is...
at Spirits.
I mean, he was smiling. But I think Fnatic were trying to basically do what Immortals did last week. It wasn't Immortals, it was Energy against TSM. 18-0, I believe it was. Let's see the fight again. So Adam, I'm not sure what he's calling Fnatic right now, but he shouldn't have called them that because they destroy him completely. And that's inhibitor open. Spirit then says you can get more. Jumps into the minion.
Unreal. Giants had to invest everything just to get that one kill. The rest of Fnatic now, they've grouped themselves up in this middle lane. Another turret falls, 12 to 1 up, 13,000 gold lead. Third inhibitor. This one taken very, very cleanly. Giants can't even watch it go down because they have to deal with minions in other lanes. Right, Spirit Rush will be up for Peppy in a few seconds. The only thing that he can do is look for a charm onto Reckless, and
Hey, I mean,
there's
Peppy's
smiles on
smiling as
Peppy's face. It's a difficult game for him. They managed to kill Feathervin's clone as Gamsu finds two. Atom and Godfrey knocked up into the air. Nobody's gone down just yet except the Nexus turret. The second falls thereafter, and Fnatic, they're looking at the Nexus. Reckless dashes forward, flashes away from the Orbit Deception. I think that saved his life. The charm finds nobody, and Giants are on the verge of going 0-7. A double dash from Feathervin. He deletes Britong Yoka. He's going to back away. The grand challenge comes up from Atom before he gets atomized by Reckless. The Nexus is the last thing standing. The Winions are helping Fnatic defeat Giants in week 4.